Monsieur le Président.
President, if you've been able, without too much difficulty, to make us not regret your predecessor, François Hollande, and your recent decision to follow the US in a unilateral military strike in Syria, well, maybe we'll be wishing Jacques Chirac was still here, because at least he had the merits to say no to the US and their belligerents. Have you not learned anything, you and all the others, from Iraq and Libya, from these interventions that were justified at the time by moral considerations, but which ended up simply fomenting war, chaos, and allowing the jihadists to prosper? Are you not aware of that? And that in France, like Syria, it is also the worst of the Islamists who've applauded your strikes. In the international arena, like elsewhere, you're very far away from the new world that you'd like to embody. Around you, in your fortress, you have all the beneficiaries of the old world, this lost model, everyone who simply wants the status quo and yearns for the global village. You are supposedly moving forward, but isn't that what Edith Cresson, the Santon Delors, isn't that just ever less democracy? It's a Europe suffering amnesia with no borders, no identity. You like to flaunt your supposed modernity and communication skills, but actually you are running counter with the future. For economic and environmental imperatives, for a more human world, this century will force us to come back to our limits and borders. Whether or not the unbridled free trade zealots like it or not, it's now about free trade of arms and terrorism. On Sunday evening, you said that France had to be more flexible and more mobile. Mobility and flexibility, these are the buzzwords, all about advertising and communication, but they're just spin very far away from real politics and what we need. What we need to guarantee is a sustainable France and sustainable nations in Europe. The people have spoken, Mr. President. Listen to what people are saying in the UK, Austria, Italy, Poland, and Hungary. But listen to what a lot of French people are saying as well. These people want their economies, their businesses, their jobs to be protected from unfair competition. They don't want seconded workers nor free trade agreements. Only a small minority benefit from these to the detriment of the real economy and the people who are suffering. They want to put an end to this borderless immigration, endless migration. They want to reclaim their sovereignty, in other words, their freedom. Yes, people want to be able to decide for themselves. In the past, that's what we used to call democracy. People are expressing their rejection of the EU that wants to decide on everything, but shows itself to be completely unable to meet the challenges that it's facing. It's all about deregulation and overregulation. Europe's absent in technology innovation, in food security, in artificial intelligence, or protection of personal data. The EU, however, is omnipresent when it comes to encroaching on the freedom of nations. You want to speed ahead with nations who do not share your view, and according to what you're saying, who are laggards. But advancing to what goal? To what? More European integration, less economic regulation, more immigration and communitarization. With you, and I'm sure you have the support of Mr. Verhofstadt, it would be Europe without Hungary, but with Turkey. It seems impossible to me to imagine a Europe which has a renaissance, not taking into account the need for rooting, as Albert Camus said when he talked about Simone Weil's work, the philosopher. Yes to a renaissance, yes to reforming Europe, and that has to be rooted in our nations, in our civilization, our common civilization. That's the challenge of identity that we are all facing together. The identity of the nations is not a weight. On the contrary, it is a weapon for us. It's a shield in globalization, and it could be a fantastic vector of success. European of cooperation and protection, that is what people want. Europe of the nation. And that's where we're going to be meeting at the ballot box in 1 year.